Hello, good day. So ngayon naman, we will talk about the derivatives of our transcendental functions. So before we proceed, let's have a review first of our last discussion, which are other rules and advanced differentiation rules. Recapitulation tayo. So we have the first one, the chain rule. So ito yung formula ng ating chain rule. dy over dx is equal to dy over du times du over dx. The general power rule, d over dx of u raised to n is equal to n u raised to n minus 1 times the u prime. We have also the higher order derivative, that is the successive differentiation. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang yung first derivative ang makukuha natin, but we can get second derivative out of first derivative, we can get third derivative out of second derivative, so on and so forth. And the last one is the implicit differentiation. So review muna tayo sa implicit differentiation. So let's say, for example, we need to find dy over dx given that y cubed minus x is equal to x squared plus y. So, ano yung mga steps that we need to follow in order to solve for the derivative of your function using implicit differentiation? So, kailan nga ba ginagamit yung implicit differentiation? Ginagamit yung implicit differentiation when variables involved in your function is of more than 2 variables. So, hindi lang si x yung makikita, meron pa tayong other variables katulad ni y, z, w, so on, marami pa. Okay? So, balikan natin yung problem natin. The first step is we will differentiate both sides of the equation with respect to x. Okay? So, lahat ng mga variables na nakikita natin sa function natin can be differentiated. Okay? Both sides of the equations with respect to x. So, ano ibig sabihin nito? So, ito, kukunin natin yung derivative ng left part of your equation and also the derivative of your right part of your equation. Now, dito naman, sa paghahanap ng differentiation ng ating variables, with respect to x kasi yung tinitingnan natin. Okay? Kung yung variable is x, so automatic, kukunin natin yung differentiation nun. Okay? Pero pagdating naman sa other variables katulad ni y, ganun din yung step kung paano kunin yung derivative ng x, pero mag-a-annex tayo dito ng dy over dx. Okay? So, ano yung magiging sagot dito? So, una, yung nasa left part, we have power rule. So, y cubed, derivative is 3y squared. Since y yung din-differentiate natin, we will annex dy over dx. Minus 1, yung 1 na to nanggaling to sa derivative ng x natin. Okay, which is equal to 2x, that is the derivative of your x squared, plus dy over dx, that is the derivative of your y. So, ito na po yung derivatives ng both sides of the equation with respect to x. Dako tayo sa step 2, yung next natin gagawin is to combine all terms na naglalaman ng dy over dx on the left side of the equation. So, i-isolate natin. Okay? Ika-combine natin, pagsasamahin natin yung mga variables na naglalaman ng dy over dx. So, sino-sino dito? Si 3y squared at saka si 1 dy over dx. So, ililipat natin yung dy over dx sa left part, magiging negative. Then, yung negative 1 na nasa left part, ililipat natin sa right side, magiging positive. So, ito na yung step 2 natin. Then, step 3, we will factor out dy over dx. Ilalabas natin yung dy over dx ng left part. So, yung maiiwan si 3y squared minus 1, then copy yung nasa right side. Then, the last step, we need to isolate dy over dx by simply dividing both part of our equation. Ano yung i-divide natin dito? Yung nasa loob ng parentheses natin na nasa left part. And that is your 3y squared minus 1. Therefore, dy over dx is equal to 2x plus 1 divided by 3y squared minus 1. And this is the derivative of your function using implicit differentiation. So, dako naman tayo sa main course natin here, which is getting the derivatives of exponential and logarithmic function. So, naalala natin that pagdating sa last topic natin, which is the limit, kinuha natin yung limit ng transcendental functions. These are your exponential, logarithmic, and trigonometric functions. Okay? So, bago natin makukuha yung limit nun, as well as makukuha yung derivative ng transcendental functions, we need to know the laws that govern those transcendental functions. So, ito yung mga prerequisite natin. Okay? Ito yung mga kailangan natin malaman bago tayo mag-solve ng derivative. Para sa exponential function, these are the laws of exponent. Iilan lang to. Okay? Law number 1, we have multiplying exponential function with the same base. Yung gagawin is simply copy the base and add the exponent. Law number 2 naman, dividing exponential function with the same base, simply copy the base and subtract the exponent. And law number 3, that is the power of your exponential function is equal to that function a raised to the product of 2 powers. That is the power rule naman sa law number 3. So, ito yung mga iilan sa laws of exponent natin na kailangan natin malaman. And also, we have your f of x is equal to e raised to x. This is your natural exponential function. Dito tayo magpo-focus later. Okay? Kung paano natin kunin yung derivative ng natural exponential function. Para naman sa law of logarithm, ito yung mga properties, okay? Dapat yung a, b, c natin dito is greater than 0 and b must not be equal to 1. Number 1, we have the product property. Number 2, quotient property. Number 3, we have the power property. And we have also the f of x is equal to log of x to the base e. This is your natural logarithm, which is also equal to f of x is equal to inverse x. So, pareha lang sila. Dito din tayo mag-focus pagdating sa logarithms. Let's move on. So, the objectives of this lesson is that learners will be able to, una, define the differentiation rules for exponential and logarithmic functions, and apply the differentiation rules in computing the derivatives of exponential and logarithmic functions. So, we have una natin gagawin muna is kunin yung derivative ng natural exponential functions. We have the statement here. The natural exponential function is its own derivative. Ibig sabihin na yung derivative ng e raised to x is also itself. That is e raised to x. Ito yung pinaka madaling matandaan pagdating sa derivative. E raised to x derivative is also e raised to x. Generally, kung yung exponent naman natin is a differentiable function of x natin, then we can compute your natural exponential function. That is, derivative of e raised to u is equal to e raised to u times the derivative of your exponent. Example. So, ulitin na natin na meron tayong dalawang case kanina. That is, derivative of e raised to x is itself, and derivative of e raised to u is itself times the derivative of its exponent. So, letter A naman natin, we have f of x is equal to e raised to 3x. Okay? So, here, ano kaya yung property kanina yung gagamitin natin? The first or the second? We will use the second rule. Okay? Derivative of e raised to u is equal to eu du. Bakit yung second? Kasi nga, yung exponent natin is differentiable with respect to x. Okay? So, dito, kailangan natin kunin yung e raised to u, that is your function, and hahanapin natin yung du. So, what is your u here? Your u is exponent, and the derivative of u is, okay, apply natin yung basic differentiation rule. So, derivative of x is identity rule, that is 1 times 3, so du is 3. Okay? So, meron na tayong du, meron na tayong e raised to u, which is your original function. So, ibig sabihin yung derivative ng e raised to 3x is, what is your eu? Your function, times your du, which is 3. Then, rearrange na lang natin. The answer is 3 e raised to 3x. And this is the final answer. Letter B. Function is e raised to negative 2x squared. Kukunin natin yung derivative nito. So, we will follow the same rule pa rin yung ikalawa. Okay? So, kukunin natin yung e raised to u, that is your function, and kukunin natin yung du, which is the derivative of your exponent. So, ano yung u natin dito? yung exponent, that is e negative 2x squared. Then yung du natin, ano yung du? We will apply the constant multiplicity rule. Okay? So the derivative of x squared is 2x raised to 1, right? So 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. Or simply, drop the exponent, that is 2 times negative 2. So we get negative 4, then subtract your exponent by 1 to get x. So meron na tayong du. So meron na tayong e raised to u, meron na tayong du. Substitution tayo. So derivative of your function is yung eu natin times your du, which is negative 4x. Then rearrange na lang natin, we get negative 4x e raised to negative 2x squared. And this is the final answer ba? Hindi. Kasi yung exponent natin contains negative number. So gagawin natin, ililipat sa baba yung e raised to negative 2x squared. Okay? Pag nilipat sa baba, magiging positive. That is reciprocal niya. Okay? Para magiging positive yung exponent. So our final answer is negative 4x over e raised to 2x squared. Example, let's say for example, we have p of x is equal to x e raised to 2x. So ito naman, we have your product, diba, ng one variable and other term natin, which is e raised to 2x. So anong gagawin natin dito? So para mahanap yung derivative ng function nito, we will apply your quotient rule. Okay? So balikan natin, one of the basic differentiation rule is the product rule. So sa product rule, kailangan natin mag-let ng u and v. Okay? Since we have two terms involved here. So ipapalagay natin that our u is equal to x and our v is equal to e raised to 2x. Then, once na mahanap yung u and v, we will find the derivative of your u and the derivative of v. So, ano yung du natin? Derivative of u is 1, that is by identity rule. And the derivative of v naman natin is, yung kanina apply natin, yung natural number natin, exponential, natural exponential function natin. So, derivative of v is equal to what? So, dropped your 2. Okay, since the derivative of 2x is 2, so 2 times e raised to 2x, and that is the derivative of your v. So meron na tayong du, meron na tayong dv, meron na tayong u, and meron na tayong v. Recall natin that the formula, pag nahanap or pag hinaharap natin yung derivative ng function using the product rule is what? Is derivative of your function is equal to u dv plus v du. That is, okay, again, u dv plus v du. So what is our u here? That is your x times the dv, which is 2e raised to 2x, plus your v, that is e raised to 2x times your du, which is 1. Then we will simplify. So 2 times x is 2x, e raised to 2x, plus, ito naman times 1, that is e raised to 2x. So, hindi na natin siya makakombine kasi nga different yung variable na nilalaman ni e raised to 2x sa una, which is 2x, at yung ikalawa naman is 1. So, hindi natin siya pwedeng i-combine. And this is the final answer for your function. The derivative is 2x e raised to 2x plus e raised to 2x. Another example. Ito naman. Paano naman pagdating sa quotient? Okay, so our function here is e raised to 2x plus 1 minus the quantity of e raised to x minus 1. So, ganun pa rin, maglilet tayo ng u, maglilet tayo ng v. By the way, here naman, yung u natin is your numerator and our v is the denominator. U nasa taas, v nasa baba. So, what is our u? So, using quotient rule, u is yung nasa taas, that is e raised to 2x plus 1, and our v is nasa baba or your denominator, that is ex minus 1. And katulad kanina ng product rule, kailangan natin hanapin yung du at saka yung dv. So what is the derivative of your u? Okay? So yung kanina, yung e raised to u natin, derivative is eu du. So that is, so derivative ng e raised to 2x is 2 e raised to 2x, derivative ng 1 is 0. So, du natin is 2e raised to 2x na lang. Yung dv naman natin, e raised to x is also the same yung derivative niya, e raised to x. Then the derivative of negative 1 is 0. So yung dv natin is only e raised to x. Now, para makuha yung derivative nito, since we're dealing with quotient property or quotient rule, alalahanin natin that the formula of your function when getting the derivative applying the quotient rule is v du minus u dv all over the square of v. Ulitin na natin. Derivative of your function is equal to v du minus u dv all over v squared. Substitute natin sa formula. So what is our v? That is e raised to x minus 1 times your du, 2e raised to 2x minus your u, e raised to 2x plus 1 times dv, that is e raised to x all over the square of your denominator. Okay? Then, by distributive property of equality, si 2e raised to 2x kanina, ibibigay natin kay e raised to x minus 1 to come up with 2e raised to 3x minus 2e raised to 2x. Ganon din yung case ng nasa kabila, si e raised to x, ibibigay natin kay e raised to 2x plus 1. Okay, and the answer is negative, e raised to 3x minus e raised to x, and copy the denominator. Then combine like terms, kung pwede magsama, isasama natin. Meron ba? Okay. Meron ba tayong pwede isama? Meron. Si 2e raised to 3x at saka si negative e raised to 3x. That is, e raised to 3x minus 2e raised to 2x minus e raised to x, and copy the denominator. And this is the final answer for your function. Let's now proceed to logarithm. So, derivative of natural logarithm naman is the reciprocal function. Ano ibig sabihin nito? As for example, so hahanapin natin yung derivative ng inverse x, that is simply 1 over x. Okay, yun lang yung derivative ng logarithm. Okay, natural logarithmic functions. Paano naman if your x is differentiable function of x? So yung mangyari dito, ganun din yung case, but we will multiply by the derivative of your x. Okay, so in this case, u, yung ginamit natin, that is 1 over u times du. That's for example. So find the derivative of each function, letter A, y is equal to inverse of 4x. So anong gagamitin natin? The first one or the second? The second. Kasi yung 4x natin is differentiable function of x. Okay? So kukunin natin yung du. So what is your u here? Your u is 4x. And the derivative of this is 4. So meron na tayong du. Therefore, your y prime is equal to what? 1 over 4x multiplied by du, which is 4. Then simplify, 1 times 4 is 4 over 4x. So common factor 4 cancel. We will get 1 over x, and this is the final answer for letter A. Okay, so inverse of 4x, derivative of inverse of 4x is equal to 1 over x. Letter B. So function natin is inverse of 5x squared plus 3. So same rule pa rin, yung ikalawa. So hanapin muna natin yung u at saka yung du. What is your u? That is 5x squared plus 3. What is the u? Derivative of 5x squared, so 2 times 5, that is 10x raised to 2 minus 1, or simply 2x. Then, yung derivative ng 3 naman natin is 0, so wala lang kasama yung 10x natin. So meron na tayong du, meron na tayong u, pwede natin mahanap yung derivative ng function natin. That is 1 over u times your du. Then simplify. The answer is 10x over 5x squared plus 3. And this is the final answer for letter P. Another example, paano naman pagdating sa product rule? Okay, apply tayo ng product rule. Maglelet ulit tayo ng u at saka v. So our u is x and our v is inverse x. Hanapin yung derivative ng u at saka ng v. Derivative of u is 1, that is identity rule. And derivative of v naman is 1 over x, yung nauna kanina. Okay, so then we will substitute sa formula ng ating derivative ng function using product rule. That is u dv plus v du. So u times dv plus v times du. Then we will simplify. X times 1 is x divided by x. That is 1. Then plus inverse of x. And this is the final answer for your function. Daka tayo sa quotient. Ganun pa rin yung case. Magle-left tayo ng u at saka ng v. So our u here is x and our v is inverse x. Hanapin natin yung derivative ng u, that is 1. And derivative of v is 1 over x. Ulitin lang natin na yung formula ng derivative ng function using quotient rule is v du minus u dv all over v squared. So substitute tayo. So what is your v? Inverse x. Ulitin natin na formula is v du minus u dv all over the square of v. So we get inverse x times 1 minus x times 1 over x all over the square of inverse x. Then simplify, we will get inverse x minus 1 all over the square of inverse x. And this is the final answer for your function. Hindi siya ganun kahirap, right? Okay. So when the given exponential or logarithmic function naman is expressed using a base other than the number e, paano naman daw? Pag yung base natin is any number, hindi siya letter e naman. So, meron tayong rules na dapat i-apply here. And these rules can be derived through the rewriting the function using base e naman. So, ito sila. So, we can get the derivative of other bases pa. So, we will let u be a differentiable function of x and a is any real number such that a is greater than 0 and a must not be equal to 1. Then, una, a derivative of a raised to x is simply inverse of a times a raised to x. Pangalawa, the derivative of log of x to the base a is equal to 1 over inverse a multiplied by 1 over x. Third, derivative of a raised to u, dito naman differentiable yung x natin with respect to x, so that is equal to inverse of a times a raised to u times derivative of u. The fourth one, derivative of log of u to the base a, katulad kanina ng second. Okay? Ngayon naman, differentiable naman yung u natin with the function x. That is equal to 1 over inverse a times 1 over u times the du. So, ito yung apat na mga other formula involving your logarithmic functions and exponential functions na kailangan yung i-memorize kung hindi na letter e yung base natin. Okay? A na siya. As long as your a greater than 0 siya and not be equal to 1. Let's say for example, letter A, y is equal to 5 raised to 2x. Hindi na siya yung e ang base natin. Our base here is equal to 5. Okay? That is your a. So among the four rules na meron tayo kanina, ano yung pinaka-angkop na gagamitin to solve for a? So your 5 is a, then 2x natin is u. That is yung nasa taas, yung nasa left or right. Okay, the right formula. That is, para makuha yung inverse nito na letter a, the answer is inverse of base times the base raised to u exponent times the derivative of exponent. So alamin muna natin kung ano yung au natin, a raised to u, and what is our u, and what is our du. So what is our a? 5. That is your base. Your u is your exponent, and the derivative of x, derivative of u rather is 2. So kompleto na. Malalaman na natin yung derivative ng 5 raised to 2x. Substitute lang natin sa formula kanina. That is inverse of a times a raised to u times derivative of u. Then we will simplify. The answer is 2 times the inverse of 5 times the 5 raised to 2x. Take note na hindi natin pwedeng samahin yung 2 times 5 ng inverse. Okay? Iba po yung magiging sagot nito. So the answer is 2 inverse 5 times 5 raised to 2x. Another one. Letter B, y is equal to e raised to x plus 8 raised to x. So ito, gagamit tayo ng sum rule. Pwede natin hiwalayin muna yung derivative ng e raised to x, then i-add natin sa derivative of 8x. Okay? And we all know that derivative of e raised to x is itself. Tama? So, derivative of e raised to x is simply e raised to x. Kukunin natin yung derivative ng 8 raised to x naman. So, ano yung rule na pwedeng gamitin sa 4 kanina? That is yung nasa taas pa rin, pero gagamitin na natin yung first. Okay? Kasi nga, yung exponent natin is x na. Hindi siya ma-differentiate na pa further. So, what is our a? Our a is 8. And the answer is inverse of a times a raised to x. Therefore, letter B, e raised to x plus the inverse of 8 times 8x raised to x. Okay, how about this example naman? We have your logarithm of x times x minus 10 raised to 3 to the base 10. Take note, pag wala po kayo nakikitang base dito, it is automatic 10. Okay? And recall, with the product property, the logarithm of uv is also the same as logarithm of u plus logarithm of v. Now, pwede natin gamitin yung product property. That is simply finding the derivative of log of x plus log of the cube of x minus 2. Okay? And also recall the power property. The logarithm of v raised to r is the power, is also the same as 3 log of v. So, yung nasa last log natin kanina, na merong exponent na 3, pwede nating ilagay sa harap ng log yung 3 by applying the proper power property. That is, okay, so rearrange na natin. So, we will get log of x plus 3 times log of x minus 2. So, wala na tayong power na makikita dito. So, pwede na siyang i-differentiate. So, for solve that, we have, so ito kanina, kinapila natin. So, what is the derivative of log of x? So, we will apply the third, okay, the third formula. So, what is our a here? 10. Okay, ulitin na natin. Nasa logarithm, pag wala po kayong makitang base, automatic 10 po yan. Okay, so our a is 10. That is 1 over inverse of a times 1 over x. Ito na yung derivative ng log of x. So, dako tayo sa kabila, plus 3 tayo. Okay, hahanapin natin yung derivative ng log of x minus 2. So, ano yung gagamitin natin? We will apply. Okay, pwede tayong gumamit ng what? Okay, we will apply your fourth formula. Okay, since our u here is x minus 2, which is the differentiable function of x. So, we will get 1 over inverse of 10 pa rin, that is your a, times 1 over x minus 2, that is your u, times, what is your derivative of u? 1. Okay, since derivative of x is 1 and derivative of negative 2 is 0. So, 1 na lang yung derivative ng u. Then, simplify natin. The answer is 1 times 1 is 1 over x inverse 10 plus 3 over x minus 2 inverse 10. And this is the final answer. Or, pwede nating i-simplify factor further by the LCD. So, LCD natin is x inverse 10 times x minus 2 para magiging single fraction na lang. We will get x minus 2 plus 3x over x inverse 10 times x minus 2. Okay, inverse 10 times x minus 2. Then, yung nasa taas combined like terms, pwede natin isama si x at saka si 3x to get 4x minus 2 all over x inverse 10 x minus 2. And this is the final answer.